Welcome back to See You on the Show. I am delighted today to have Deedee Myers and JD Myers. Deedee, welcome back. We're delighted to see you again. Love the content that you help us in the governance area. Is that what you're going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the AI and human-centric part of organizations in the future, Doug, and the future is here now. How do we want to look at AI, look at people in the future, and what the challenges are that I see organizations need to face into right away? Really exciting topic.
This is a podcast from the future. Deedee Myers is here to help us with the future. And JD Myers, welcome, sir. The first time we've had you on the podcast. Tell me a little bit. First thing I always love to hear is how did you get started working with credit unions? And what kind of work are you doing with credit unions today?
Well, thank you, Doug. Pleasure to meet you and pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I am a thought generator when it comes to AI leadership, organizational development, and organizational design. I help all kinds of organizations, be they nonprofit or profit, find their way into the future, as Deedee pointed out, incrementally and strategically, and with the culture and environmental mindset in mind. And I also promote CMMC, which is the Cybersecurity Maturity Model with DoD contractors, which there are 84,000 of them out there that need a lot of help. So I bring AI into the picture there, leadership development on CMMC, DoD security, and development within of the CMMC framework into the organization. But we're facing a lot of complications there and a lot of time constraints and necessity to get that program moving. So we're introducing AI into that picture as quickly as possible.
It's
Thank
moving
you.
incredibly fast and everyone's struggling to keep up. So hopefully what our listeners will get from the ideas you bring today is some framework to how to start and how to build a plan. One of the takeaways I got from the pre-reading is how to build a plan to get your board up to speed on being able to understand things. So, Deedee, let's see that deck that you brought and start into the content.
All right, so they're all the initials after JD's name, CMMC. So quite impressive background there. But the piece that I think we need to look at here, JD and Doug, is what's going on with the world right now. So this is a study that came out in 2023 for the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So it is a independent study. It's not ours, but we studied the data and we looked at where are we in the world in terms of our workforce, in terms of different areas of literacy, general literacy, numeracy literacy, and then what we call adaptive problem solving literacy. So the study looked at a number of different countries, and you can see where we are in the United States here amongst these other countries. So right away, you're going to notice that we are to the left of that middle line of the average. We are on the bottom here in terms of different areas of literacy. I think it's important for us to also understand that literacy is actually measured at the fifth or sixth grade level. The fifth or sixth grade level. So the deal here is these are the people that we're going to be hiring in the future. And the piece here is what does that mean in terms of AI? What does that mean in terms of governance? What does that mean in terms of how we recruit people, develop people, and keep moving into the future so we can be sustainable? So the first part here is literacy, really is about how do we look at different documents and make sense of it. You can see that we're below the average there. Numeracy is pretty simple. An example is, can we put together a spreadsheet with a calculation to calculate percentage of a loan, like what is our interest rate risk, or what is our interest rate on a loan that we have as an individual or in our organization for a member? And then adaptive problem solving is, can we actually solve problems? So the challenge here is that 32% of our population in the United States is below the baseline of proficiency level, again, which is fifth and sixth grade. I'm thinking about all of my kids and I'm going, oh my gosh, really, how do we keep growing this baseline and moving it up so we can be better at adaptive problem solving? The other challenge that we're seeing is that we're clustering. The United States is clustering more at the bottom of the graph, Doug and JD, which means that population is increasing. So yes, we can go back to the root causes, what's going on in our homes, what's going on in our education system. But at the end of the day, we're bringing these people into our organization in different roles. The good news is that as those who score well in adaptive problem solving actually report higher levels of life satisfaction because they know what choices are and they can make choices and they have healthier lives, financially, mind and body and soul. So a lot of good data here. So I'll pause here and see what you all think about this.
Yeah, it looks like the solutions are you could hire internationally, right? That would be an opportunity. Remote employees in Finland and Japan appear to be very effective. But kidding, that's a problem, and I imagine that AI could be making it even worse.
Well, that's a good point, Doug, if I may jump in. AI does two things minimally. It accelerates and it amplifies. So if you have a workforce problem, it's going to amplify that.
Mhm.
You're going to see more of the workforce issues come to life, revealing AI will reveal workforce issues that you weren't aware of. And it can also accelerate a lot of the problems because of the workforce shortages. So as you see here, the literacy rate, numeracy rate, and so on and so forth is low. AI needs articulated prompts. It needs somebody that can articulate a clear, precise, objective prompt. And a prompt is a question asking for data. Take that data and create knowledge out of it. Take that knowledge and create action on it. So this is a huge issue for AI. Now, AI will eventually learn the user's deficiencies and try to overcome them,
Mm.
but it has to learn them, it has to learn the deficiencies and has to learn how to fill those gaps with the right words, the right verbiage, the right question. So it may reshape questions. You may see that from time to time as an example in ChatGPT. You ask a poor laid out question, it'll reformat and reformulate the question, come back and say, is this what you want? But it takes time to do that. So in the meantime, this leads to a new phenomenon within AI and a new buzzword called work slop or AI slop. And it's really not AI slop, it's work deficiencies that are being amplified by AI's work on the deficiencies.
So what from the credit union standpoint, what do you do about this?
Well, we have to improve literacy across the workforce. That has to be one of the objectives, one of the strategic growth areas. Learning and development. A lot of organizations have LD departments and sub-organizations, or they outsource it. They go through their HR. So as part of the LD program, learning and development, we have to start integrating what the schools were unable to promote and gain within the students. We have to re-educate the students into a literacy form within the workforce and with AI.
I sound a lot bigger than just credit unions, right? That's the whole educational system of the country. Do we have like specific things for the movement, like as an industry? What are we to do? We can't make the educational system change, at least not for a while. Maybe eventually we could get it to adapt, but what do we do for now?
Well, that's a very good question, and one can come up with a lot of solutions, but I think one of the solutions is we look for an area within the AI frameworks, which there are many, to plug in literacy development. So we can ask AI, which is there anyway in front of the user as a student and a teacher relationship, to take time to help the workforce user learn the right way to ask questions with AI, the right thinking approach.
I'm wondering too, a couple things in listening here is what does continuous process improvement mean in the credit union land? Where there's a lot of that work going on around in the lending system. Would that be a place for us to start and to improve the processes there and then integrate AI in there? The other thing I'm listening to is how do we onboard our credit union employees and keep their learning and development going? And the third thing is do we have the talent in our credit unions to actually teach and develop people? If not, what do we do about that? So, what do you all think about that? Start in the lending area, would that be the place most credit unions would want to look in terms of their strategy and their strategic projection? And then, JD, what do you think about continuous process improvement integrating with AI in the lending area?
Well, if AI is producing the wrong results in a financial institution, that financial institution will come under greater scrutiny by the federal government because there'll be more mistakes made, more amplified mistakes, accelerated mistakes that are going to hard to catch up with and to stop and clean up and fix. So AI needs to be an integrated teacher throughout the day for each and every student that it detects a deficiency in their ability to articulate what they want. So that will be an area where models and modules can be introduced into an AI framework of any type to help each user learn how to better work with AI.
Right, so in the past, we've talked about point and then system and enterprise components of AI, if I'm using the right language. So if we use point, can you give an example of point in a financial institution so we can all get organized on that?
Well, a point in the financial institution can simply be, for instance, Copilot, which is integrated within the browser of Microsoft. And Copilot is becoming an AI engine all of itself in the sense of it can take what you're looking for and wanting to do, go out to the what's called the large language model, get the information you're after, you're seeking, and bring it back into an intelligent proposal of this is what you might need to know in order to make the next step profitable, to add value. So that's Copilot is on a system, it's on a laptop, it's on a phone, it's on a computer. So at that point within the knowledge network, somebody is asking Copilot to give it assistance. And then if you have 100 employees across the institution, and each and every one of those 100 employees is using Copilot, each of those 100 employees are a point within the AI, the greater AI system.
Okay. All right. So, Doug, thinking here what you said about credit unions. So, what I'm hearing here is that we could use point AI for better fraud detection, right? Maybe automated member service via chat box, improving credit decisioning, and then what do we need to do in terms of getting our systems up to place and our people leveraging all of this intelligence in certain different ways?
I always sort of start the thinking from the top, right, from the strategy standpoint, and that's the board and the senior executive team. As I wonder about AI readiness, AI involvement, like JD's idea that you ask the AI how to use it best, how to prompt it best. Well, have you seen a credit union board actually having an AI as a part of the board meetings and you can put it into a mode where it'll listen and talk back and forth. Have you seen that yet, Deedee?
Yeah, that's starting. It's very exciting. We do know one credit union where every board member got AI certified, Doug. And what they're doing is using data-driven AI-enabled conversations, to look at how to create personalized and intelligent information. So I asked the chair, why did you go get certified? He goes, well, our CEO and our team is bringing, strategically growth insight powered through AI. So we need to be up here in the conversation so we can meet them here and then go further from a strategic perspective versus always being carried and brought and led.
Yeah,
So it
right
changed
on.
the dynamic of the conversation, the quality of the conversation, and the pace of change. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, do you know for our listeners any specifics on where they happen to get their AI certification?
Yeah, there's dozens of them out there. I think Cornell has them, a lot of the big universities, Harvard. You've got, I think Gartner has them. There's several I could send to you to add at the end here. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that if your organization is going to be AI forward, that should start with the strategy coming from the board and looking for how, what is the competency you need to have in order to build strategy around the AI initiative.
Yeah, we're also, when we're doing board succession plans, AI is amongst the top 3 requirements or hope for competencies for new board members.
I bet you it's hard to come by.
It's hard to come by. Where we get a little stuck, though, I think, is that sometimes we think, or the board thinks, that they have to have somebody who actually uses AI every day. Well, yes, that's great, but what we're looking for are people to serve on boards who can use AI from a strategic perspective.
Hmm.
And I think that's easier said. I think that's easier done than we might think it is. We can get the certification, we can start to use it, just plug and go. But looking at how can we transform our value proposition from a strategic governance perspective, I think is big for us in credit unions.
Hmm. How
Well,
could we go
if I
ahead?
may add to that, thank you. AI right now is a great advantage to organizations, credit unions, and it can help move the horizon, which may be 3 years out there right now on new strategic objectives. It can help bring that closer, close that window of time on the calendar closer to 6 months versus 3 years, because AI within that organization is going to learn more about that organization. It's going to learn more about the context of what that organization does, and it's going to learn about each individual, and it's going to learn about the board's strategy, the board's vision, the board's mission, and all the way down through the C-suite. So as you use AI within an organization, it grows with you. It gains corporate knowledge and awareness, and it becomes one, if you will, with trying to help advance your strategy forward quicker, smarter, with better ideas. So, but that's a little better off. That's going to take some time. It's going to take
Hmm.
credit unions probably 2 or 3 years to reach that point, but it's going to happen. And if a board looks at right now themselves, the board has to take the lead on how to bring AI into the organizational picture, how to design eventually around AI,
Hmm.
how to develop the organization eventually around AI. So AI eventually becomes the core of many layers of strategy, which eventually ripples out its effects.
Yeah, I really like that, JD. It's like the board was bold enough to reimagine the credit union, like, blank sheet of paper in the AI area. How would you change your mission? Would it be expressed differently? People helping people powered by AI or something along that sort of uh, range. What do you think, Deedee?
Well, I'm thinking a lot of boards go, it's really hard to imagine the future. 3 years, 5 years. Why do we do that? That's why we do business plans every year. What I'm hearing JD say is if we change that horizon, do some different horizon analysis, AI can bring it forward. We can still have a vision. This is where we need to go to serve our membership. We can have that vision, but we can keep up with the pace of change in a deeper, more relevant way with data, AI powered data, so it can help us look at our products and our services. So I'm hearing a lot about being able to keep pace, the cadence, really work agility, and very robust board conversations in the future than we have now.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a deeper integration is what I'm getting
Yeah.
from JD. Is like instead of being we have an AI project at the credit union, it's AI is a part of all of our strategic conversations, sort of another seat at the table of all conversations, looking to build all the proprietary knowledge of that credit union and of its membership and of its strategic initiatives into our AI model, and then use that to drive the thinking going forward. And I kind of like what you said in the beginning, ask the AI how to teach the AI, how to prompt, how to use it itself, how to prompt it best, how to go about learning it. I think that's an interesting vision for the future that I haven't seen anybody doing it yet, but I guess you have seen some already. What comments do you have around that, JD or DD?
Well, if I may answer it this way, the board, in my opinion, is going to need, like any other board in any other organization that's adopting and embracing AI, need to look at plans as more of a canvas, because AI is going to provide solutions the board never thought to ask about. It's going to bring very innovative ideas forward on the timeline. So that means your plan, which is in a fixed space, in a fixed verbiage, a fixed thought, it may not be able to absorb AI's suggestions. So we've got to switch to a canvas versus a plan. Canvas is more open, it's more fluid. It can change the picture with the picture. And AI is going to redefine the picture of the CU landscape almost every month. And so that's going to take agility and adaptability within the framework of board's strategic decision making. And like you said, Doug, the AI component is going to become a member at the board level as part of the conversation. I see board members during a meeting actually asking AI, "What do you think?" They'll name it, you know, board number 13,
Do
whatever.
they really?
What do you think of this? And the AI is going to go, well, based on the conversation I just heard, but this is what I think. But based on the data, I can cultivate and create knowledge out of within your organization. This is what I suggest. So it's going to be a learning process for the board as well as the AI component that's sitting at the table.
I've got an idea to put out here. So when boards go look for new board members, often they look for one area of functional expertise. In the past, it's been a lot of accounting, right? And now we accounting, we've got legal, some overrepresented subject matter expertise. What I'm thinking here today is we need board members who can leverage AI and have a broader, more in-depth, robust picture of the enterprise as a whole, not just one functional area. How does marketing or branding integrate with our community development effort? What are the products and services doing to impact our balance sheet optimization? I think we no longer should be considering just one area of expertise. Yes, we're going to come into it with that, but we need to bring in board members who will welcome the opportunity to learn more about the whole enterprise and leverage AI to do that.
I mean, is it a question of welcoming them, or is it hard to? I gotta think it must be very difficult, right? These people are super highly compensated if they're actually in or even near the AI space, and getting them to volunteer their time to a credit union would be a possibility, but I would think a challenging one. Have you seen credit unions with success in that initiative?
Well, most credit unions will, a lot of the boards will say nobody will join them, nobody wants to join them, these people don't have time, don't care. I always move with an possibility mindset. You're looking like who does, we will find somebody who has the smarts and the subject matter expertise and the commitment to the community. We do have to put forth the effort. We need to have a paradigm shift in our mindset on what we need on the board and how we're going to find them, be open to different ways of looking and recruiting and get that commitment. But if we start, Doug, like a lot of boards do, oh, it's never going to happen, we won't get
Hmm.
people, that's going to be out in front of us, and a gate and a yield sign, a stop sign we constantly have to maneuver around as a filter. I love to go, no, we will find that person and let's put the effort into it. And with that, it will happen. I believe it will happen, and it has. Yeah, so we worked with the board the other day and they go, no, let's go. Let's shift our mindset. Let's go find that person. So we're actually going to start a search for them to get this kind of person on board that will help increase the level of, I believe, business acumen across the enterprise for all board members.
I have AI open on my screen right now, so I could ask it. All
Go
right,
for
as the theme is what methodology should you use to it, and that's the takeaway, right? I love the vision of the 13th board member, and that 13th board member is always available. That is the volunteer that will always work. No cruises needed. They are always going to be more and more informed. They're always going to be every bit of information that you ever gave it in the past is already there. Didn't forget anything. It's got all that there and is ready to help you to try to ask the questions to take it to the next level. Sometimes its truthfulness could be an issue. You need to double check.
Yeah.
But what a impact simply adding an AI member of the board. And then the question becomes, if it isn't too technical for the podcast, it may be, is which AI should be the member of the board.
Yeah.
Any comments around that, JD or Deedee?
Sure. At that point, you want an enterprise AI system. So we, as Deedee alluded to earlier, you have three, perhaps four types of AI: point AI, system AI, which is a collaborative combination team effort around a certain project, a certain effort, a certain system. Then you have an enterprise AI, which takes the entire organization into mind, cultivates data, harvests data from each area within the organization, and comes up with an organizational picture, an organizational design for that day on what can be done. And so Deedee and I have been discussing this, and we came up with the fourth idea of where AI fits in. That's the AI ecosystem. Every organization has an ecosystem, supply chains, deliveries, so on and so forth. So AI will eventually reach into every organization's broader ecosystem vis-a-vis agents, AI agents. You may have heard about those already, connector points, and data is going to flow freely. Knowledge is going to flow freely. And as it does, each AI system is going to learn from every other AI system. So the knowledge growth, the wisdom growth is going to be phenomenal.
One of the things that we're also doing here is creating a position profile, Doug, in an organization. We may call it AI translator or what, but it's just this, if we're to hire somebody who's going to help our organization move forward, help our board govern in this area, time of AI, and help management and leadership, what would be on that position description? So maybe next time we meet, we can share that, but that's in process right now.
Yeah,
If I can
go ahead, JD.
add to that very quickly, thank you. Boards need to understand AI is already in their organization. So you have the organic from the bottom up of users that enjoy AI. They use it at home, they use it for other purposes, and they bring it into work. And they're using AI at work on their own, by their own initiative, to become more creative with their work effort, wherever that can be done. So you have this organizational growth that is happening from the bottom, and board members need to be aware of that. They don't want to damage it. They don't want to hinder it. They don't want to put barriers around it by coming out with rules and regulations and governance. They want to they want to grow it. They want to incentivize its growth and everybody else. And it's going to show the board members, the executives and the managers and the supervisors and the frontline team members who really wants to do their work and who really doesn't want to do their work. In the sense of, if you put a powerful AI, the board edicts this powerful AI that's going to be implemented across the credit union, and it falls into the hands of people that really are not embracing it. They're afraid to use it because they don't want to lose their job. And I get that question all the time
I bet.
from employees. Is it going to take my job? That's their main concern. I said, no, it's going to take your tasks. It's going to take the tasks that you're doing that you don't like to do. Nobody wants to do. It's going to take them out of your hands, automate them for you so you don't have to worry about them. You can move to the next level of thinking, which I know you've got every day. You come up with better ideas. And so learn AI. I strongly urge them, learn AI at home, bring that value into work. And when you do that, you're promoting your own value, and management will see that. The board does need to come up with a strategy for AI, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah, I
A
want to
framework.
unpack that. Both of you, I'd like you to kind of go. I know you might be creating ideas live here, and that's all right. When it's this front leading, it needs to be created, right?
Yes.
Any ideas around or what you've seen with the board design for how straight AI is a strategy and how it's going to be incorporated? If you haven't heard of some, what might you imagine them to be, or shall I just ask AI?
Let's do both. Ask AI. Absolutely.
The,
Absolutely.
the board needs to be aware that AI can be dangerous as well as opportunistic, as well as advantage, as well as value. So like any other technology you're going to introduce, any other program you're going to introduce into your organization, there are risks. But risks are overcome by initiators, by innovators, by creators, creativity people, and people that are proactive. People that are proactive will overcome the risks if it's measurable and understandable. They can use AI to help them overcome risks quicker, or how to close the gap on the risks of AI itself. And there's no one single format of a framework for any organization. So there are going to be multiple frameworks of AI with different learning modules, large learning modules for each big area of an organization, including credit unions. So you might have a separate framework for AI in lending. You might have separate framework for AI in investments, and so on and so forth. So these are understandings, components, pieces that boards need to understand. They need to be flexible and aware that we may actually be on the precipice of a Cambrian moment in time where such a radical shift is going to take us off in a direction we don't understand yet. That's futuristic, but it could possibly happen. So if boards can come up with messaging that indicates very strongly they understand AI, they promote AI, they're going to come out with their own AI program. But in the meantime, employees, if you can use AI to the advantage of what you're doing today, please do. Now, that's all within a wrap of security. We can't let data out that's sensitive to the credit union and its members to the internet just freely. We have to put security around that.
Going simple here. So we're in October, early October. Almost every organization is in a strategic planning mode. They bring people together, have conversations. I think it's a really smart move to make sure AI is in the room. It's in the conversation. Are we a pilot? Are we a passenger? What's the role of the board? Are we passengers just coming along with what management brings to us? Do we engage in the conversations and how we want to use AI to go forward to better serve the members? Look at potential merger opportunities, change our growth strategies. I think has to be in the room right now. I think waiting till next year, Doug, is not a smart move. Yeah, I think we need to be. Hopefully, they're bringing this into the room now in some way, having some education. I know I have some clients where we do an education session every quarter, and in November we're doing a board governance piece on AI for that board. Like, what is the board's role here? So some of the boards are stepping up and going, what do we need to do here? What do we need to learn? How do we govern? What questions should we be asking? What's the risk? What's our governance framework in terms of what decisions to make around AI versus delegating that to the management team? So it's a whole new conversation.
It is. And while you were talking, I asked AI, how can a credit union integrate AI into its strategic plan? And after 21 seconds, I was given number one, start with guardrails. Day zero, adopt a risk framework, anchor compliance early, model risk, third-party risk, adverse action, transparency. Number two, pick high ROI, low risk use cases. The member experience and the AI co-pilot that JD mentioned in the contact center, operations and risk for document ingestion, lending and collections with controls, and back office policies and procedures. And we've actually had that subject on this podcast already. 21 seconds asking a very basic question. And I think that makes the case for why AI needs to be in your boardroom attending these meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. If I may add, one huge advantage that the board could understand, make sure they're aware of, and they probably are, that the richest data that any organization can have is within the organization. It's not out there on the internet. The richest data that any organization can have, they already have it. It's internal. Years of it, all kinds of data, great expanses of data. So what one can do is buy a SLM. It's a small learning module. Sorry, a small learning module language. And it's an internal AI system that can be set up with IT. And it can act like its own AI engine internal to the organization, internal to the credit union, and have connecting points throughout the credit union, have several agents designed to go throughout the credit union and start cultivating data, tagging data, classifying data, attaching labels to data. So it's not moving data into one central location, causing a great cost to the organization and great security risk. It's labeling data, which the AI tracks. And when a question is asked, the first place it can go is within its own organization, pull that data together to answer that specific question one might have about the organization and a direction they need to go, or an operational task, trends, analysis, and so on and so forth, in all kinds of ways, and actually ask AI to make a recommendation. When it needs to reach out to the internet, it passes that request for more additional information to agents that would go out on the internet, grab that data, and bring it back. So an SLM is an advantage to an organization, and that's probably the first approach a board should suggest that the entity take, is an internal AI.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that before, JD. Have either of you seen a credit union doing that yet?
No.
Very few, maybe a handful that I know of, and I don't know them all, Doug, but yeah.
Yeah, how would again, where is a resource for our listeners on that kind of learning more about this small language model? Is that right?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
can our listeners learn more about that?
Oh, they
AI.
can go ahead, Deedee.
Right. The theme, the takeaway from today's show, just ask AI, right? Yeah.
There's, this is where, that's a very good question, if I may, that actually introduces the idea of what's called the translator. A translator is an individual that understands business speak and IT speak, and can take the business stack, the business operational design, and line it up with the IT stack. And the space in between will be filled with the AI stack, and the three shall be aligned. But this is where a translator needs to step in, because IT doesn't understand business AI. Business doesn't understand IT's role in the technology of deploying AI. So a translator would come in and answer that question for you.
In terms of AI certifications, they're all over the place. MIT has it, Microsoft, Google, IBM. I think it'd be advisable for your learning and development officer, HR person, to actually put these on your intranet in your organization. You could also, Doug, have somebody do courses and put the master classes on your intranet or your learning management system in the organization. So I think that's something we all need to be looking at from the lower level up, and from the board perspective, we could do look at some resources and put on the board portal that might be more of the 6 week shorter time frame from a strategic perspective.
Yeah, maybe a virtual course taught by AI about the small language model, or how to incorporate AI into your strategy, and where to go first, how to build guardrails around it. Like, you got to wonder, is the AI making sure that these answers lead to its permanence in taking over society?
Well, that's a good question. It's real. It's a real question. AI transparency, or XAI
Hmm.
as some are calling it, is a part of AI that's been designed to be transparent. So if one needs to step inside of the AI answer and ask AI, how did you arrive at that answer? It's going to lay out the business process of thinking that it went through to arrive at the answer.
Now,
So without,
Now, JD, I gotta understand that better, because I didn't think that was an option. I thought it was a black box as far as how it got to the answer. You can see the answer, but you can't see how. Tell me how this other version is.
XAI, which is short for explainable AI, it's also a vendor term, so you got to be careful.
Okay.
But it explains how the AI started out with the question that somebody asked it, and what process did it go through to answer the question. What data did it retrieve? Where did it retrieve the data? How did it treat the data? Why did it get that data? And what did it do to converge that data into an answer? That's a XAI. It's a framework introduced into other frameworks. And every organization out there is in a rush to get to the market. And many of them are not including XAI into their model. If you adopt one of those models, you're at risk, especially if you're a financial organization. You've got to be able to prove to the federal government how you arrived at certain business decisions in certain regulatory spaces. So if you can't do that, there's a problem.
So explainable AI is something that, like the big company names that we all know in AI, is that one of the options from them, or is that a whole different source of the AI itself?
It's a conceptual framework. It's a thought. It's an idea that is being developed out there right now. So it's not an actual technology,
Okay.
hardware or software. It's not an application. It's a construct, if you will, sort of an academic construct that would be embedded inside an organization's framework in order to peel the onions back
Why
as
did
the
you do
process.
this? Here's
Right,
why. Here's the
right,
logic behind the research behind the source. It's like the source information behind a scholarly article. Like that's what it's going to
right.
show you is all those steps.
One of the benefits would be, did the AI start with an authoritative source?
Hmm.
Or is it going on best guess data that's been generated out there by who knows who? That's a very important originating step. Where did we get the data from?
Hmm.
Would help with the governance. Instead of just blindly taking the information that the AI brings to you, you can actually trace what were the sources, how did it happen. I think that would help ground the decisions that the board and the executives are making. I think also what I'm hearing is it would also translate to increasing or enhancing, evolving our strategic and critical thinking at the board level, as well as the mid-level and lower levels in the organization, instead of just blindly being what I'll call a passenger. And
Hmm.
taking, yeah, so I,
But
I like that.
so it's an academic idea, yet it's not yet something you can plug into and use.
Correct.
So for now, while we have the large language models built in the predictive way, you still engage with it and use it in perhaps ways that are not as decisioning, right? It doesn't make credit decisions. Would that be the sort of areas to stay away from without being explained all the reasoning behind it?
From a security standpoint and a viability standpoint, a reputational standpoint, yes. Correct.
Mhm.
Be careful. If you can't peel that onion back, excuse me, if you cannot peel that onion back, then don't
Don't use it
use
for
the
that
AI.
outcome. If you
Right.
can't, if you need to be able to show all the source information around it,
Mhm.
don't use it for that kind of an outcome.
Correct.
The schools are doing that. I have 4 or 5 kids in master's programs right now, Doug, and their teachers say if you're going to use AI, you have to show the source and your thinking and how you looked at the information so you can use it. But if you just repeat what AI says without grounding it and backing it up and validating it, you're out of luck on that assignment grade. So we're learning it in the universities. That'll be helpful.
Yeah, I was teaching a couple of our staff some people that were training to be certified financial planners. So I was doing some time value of money calculations with them, and I started out by asking our friend AI to come up with the questions. I did a brilliant job of that, and I asked it to give me an answer sheet, and then I checked the answers, and it was completely wrong. Absolutely beautifully, convincingly, completely wrong. And it just shows you that that source information and checking to see accuracy is still very real, even if something as basic as just a formula. It cannot be relied upon for complete accuracy, but its ability to idea generate is truly extraordinary. And the ideas that you can come up with in the boardroom, in the strategy room for your credit union can be just massively enhanced by putting that 13th member in, welcoming AI into your boardroom, and then building a framework around how to let it be a part of your strategic process in a well defined, carefully risk controlled manner. is my takeaway from talking to you very smart people today. So with that said, any other takeaways, resources, ideas that you want to offer to our listeners for how to take this this idea to the next level beyond the obvious one, just ask AI?
Just ask AI. I would encourage executive teams, mid-level supervisors, directors to maybe have lunch and learns, and somebody puts a topic up and everybody learns together using AI and from different perspectives and see what comes out of it as a practice. That's very easy. It's cost effective. Really doesn't cost anything except time and a pizza to order for lunch. But start there by modeling that. We do embrace the thought of AI or learning about AI and embed it into our learning and development just through a lunch and learn. It sounds easy, Doug. I think we can do that at the board level as well. I'm also have through my work looking at AI from a board governance perspective, got a little scared. I saw some stuff out there about when I researched AI on what's the board's role in strategic planning in a credit union, what came back to me I totally disagree with, but I've heard other speakers speak. And I think we can misdirect our board members by using AI without going back to the source of what true governance is, good governance is. So a caution flag there went up for me.
So be careful. Don't just take sort of my example as well. Don't just take it as fact. Check it, think about it. Does it resonate with your strategy, who you are as an organization, where you're going?
And good governance, not just because somebody said it, it's out on the internet, now it's in AI. Yeah, so I think we're being a little careful there.
JD?
Another, sure. Um, Ideally, the best way to start off with AI is to take the vendors, have a discussion with your current vendors, whatever vendors you have in your organization, whatever software vendors you have, big enterprise systems, small applications, and ask them, are they integrating AI into their updates, their products? And if they are, they should notify you. They should notify the board members, the operators of the credit union. What is it they're integrating in the way of AI capabilities and programs and so on and so forth within their existing software, enterprise software applications that they have within the credit union. Most of the time, they're not the best. They are actually quite unimpressive. But over time, the vendors will learn how to better integrate, what type of AI to integrate, how to tune that AI to the organization. Though it's a learning process for the vendors. And the vendors are in a learning process just as the credit unions. So there has to be flexibility and understanding, cooperation, and bring down the expectations a little bit, make them more realistic, and working together to start integrating AI into the credit union. I would suggest that working with the vendors and their embedded AI is what it's called, versus trying to bring in and introduce a whole external AI system that could actually conflict with the existing systems that are in the credit union. So it has to be an integrated approach, well planned out, and some proof of concepts along the way.
So, JD, are you suggesting that the credit union look at the systems that the vendors are using because the credit union itself might use that same system? Is that the logic?
It's for instance, like Salesforce. If the credit union is using Salesforce, to what extent is the current day Salesforce in that organization? To what extent is it using AI within Salesforce? Is there an embedded AI component within Salesforce? That's the question that needs to be asked first. Any CRM system, any ERP system, enterprise resource planner, customer resource management system likely has embedded AI in it today. And so the question would be, how is that going? What's the trend line for that AI within those systems, and what it can do, what it can, its capacity and capabilities, what can it deliver, and have that used by the organization.
And then is the next step where the credit union considers that same AI for other uses? Or because I know you were saying, as compared to if you just go out on your own and select something, looking at what the vendors are using is maybe a better way to go about it. I'm just trying to figure out what's the next step beyond that.
So let's say you have three major vendors within the credit union. You have Salesforce, a separate one is a customer resource management system or customer service management system. And the other one is an enterprise resource planning system or program that takes care of the enterprise as a whole. It does those three systems have embedded AI working that would serve as an advantage to that particular credit union that's using them?
Mm-hmm.
And so the question will likely be, yes, we have embedded AI.
Yeah.
Okay. To what extent is that embedded AI being used to provide the answers that we're trying to get out of the system every day?
Right.
Okay. So the customer needs to be updated and made aware of constantly, not constantly, but through iterations of the power of the embedded AI that's in the system, because that might help the credit union board make a decision on what type of external AI they need to bring in
Okay.
that's not part of those systems.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Now I understand now that is it's shortening the decision tree, the number of things the credit union might consider for their own initiatives. Got it. Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you for being so bold to join me for this, topic that we haven't all figured out yet, right? Like we are trying to figure it out. And that's the purpose of the podcast, is to come up with the bold ideas to help power the credit union forward, the credit union movement forward. So thank you so much, Deedee, for coming back again. And JD, I love the topic that we've discussed. I don't think we're done with it. I think we might need to do this a couple more times. And I will look for your leadership and thought ideas as I always have before. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, Doug. Thank you.
Take care, JD. Bye, Deedee.
Bye.